Okay, Sean, I think we're
Hello,
live.
everyone. Welcome to the last training, the final training on the Webinar Control Program. I'm Sean Wander, of course. For those of you that are joining for the very first time, I'm here with my partner, Mitchell German. And as promised, this is going to be a ControlWriter exclusive session. So I'm going to, in just a moment, get into exactly how today's training is going to work. But first and foremost, I want to apologize once again profusely for the issues we had on Tuesday. And in fact, just to make sure we are up and running, if you'd be kind enough to just say hello, make sure, give us a good heads up that we're broadcasting properly and that you guys can hear me speaking and see me and all that stuff. So again, we do apologize for that, and it's just pure evidence that even with the best laid plans, sometimes technical issues creep in, and at times you just have to reschedule. We wanted you guys to have the best possible experience, and so rather than speak to a room of no one and then just put it up in the Webinar Control members area, we thought we would just reschedule it for today. So hopefully you can do it. It looks like, okay, great. Looks like we're getting some thank yous here. Dave says it's looking good from his side. Any other attendees, just chatting in there, make sure to let us know that you can hear us okay. We'd certainly appreciate that so we can continue to press on. And sounds like I'm getting okays. Okay, Mitch. So today what we're going to do is, as promised, we're going to really give you the full version of the ControlWriter software training. So many of you have been asking in our support and have been really excited to start to really learn and explore the power of one of the best features of the entire Webinar Control program, which is the lifetime access to ControlWriter software. And I can tell you that from the very, very first training, even before you all invested in the program, the power of ControlWriter was really only alluded to by Mike and us in the various trainings. And as you're going to start to see, not only from today's training, but as you continue to use the software from this day forward, there is just so much power that is coming your way, not just in terms of working your webinars and your campaigns, but in so many of the day-to-day things that you're going to do in your life. So what I will tell you is that we're going to break this training up into a few different parts. And the first segment, what we're literally going to do is a feature walkthrough of all of the things. Now, for some of you that have been using the software for a little while, are starting to get a little more comfortable, some of it might be a little basic, a little rudimentary. Just stay with us. It won't take too long to go through. But for many who like to revisit the training or who are really seeing it for the first time, we wanted to make sure that they had very, very clear instructions on exactly how to use even the most basic features, creating a new project, dragging bubbles around, adding notes, adding files. So we're going to be going over all of those. And then in the next segment, what we're going to cover is give you guys a preview of actually some of the exciting things that are coming in the next few weeks on ControlWriter. Beginning, of course, with what we're going to be training on, and Mitch will get into this as well, but what we're going to train on today is what you will see live when you refresh your cache tomorrow in the software, probably tomorrow morning, worst case scenario, tomorrow early afternoon, depending on your time zone. But we're going to, rather than train on something that's going to disappear in less than a day, we're going to train you on the latest and the greatest and all the exciting things that are coming your way. So we're going to cheat on some upcoming feature highlights, including tomorrow's release. And then after that, we're going to go beyond the Webinar Control platform and show you some additional frameworks and talk about some other day-to-day uses and some of the power of the software to give you guys some creative ideas about how you can use it. And last but not least, we will reserve the final segment for an open Q&A and hot seat. Now, we had a couple people who had requested hot seats for Tuesday, and I'm not sure, Yvette, I know, and Rogerio were two of them, but they've got their big lunch today, so I'm not sure if or how much time they're going to spend on today's training live. And so if they're still here when it's time for the hot seat, we'll gladly bring them in if they want it. Yvette and Rogerio, if you're there and you hear this, we're happy to bring you in. But for anyone else, what we'd like to do is make use of the feature. If you look at your profile, you'll see that there is a little finger up icon where you can actually be asked to join and asked to join the call. So when we get into the live Q&A and hot seat session, you can either just type your questions, or preferably if you'd love to come on live and we can just do a live conversation and make it a nice guest spotlight to discuss anything and everything, not just about Control Writer, but about webinar control, whatever projects you have. Mitch and I are going to stay on as long as we possibly can to make sure that all of your questions get answered today. And of course, if there's anything that gets left or you think of something after the fact, you can always email any support questions related to Control Writer software to support@controlwriter.com. And of course, you can email any Marketing Genesis related questions on Webinar Genesis, some of the webinar control, or any other of the many Marketing Genesis frameworks and platforms to support@marketinggenesis.com. So with that, I am now going to turn it over to Mitchell, who will start sharing his screen, and we're going to start covering some of these features. Mitch?
All right, thank you, Sean, for that great introduction. So let me go ahead and share my screen to the world here. And everybody should now see presenter. Okay, so everybody should be seeing now my screen and a shot of the software. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit so people can see a little more clearly.
Yep, you're good. And we'll keep working with the Zoom, folks. If you see for a second that it's a little blurry, we're watching it, and we will just hang tight, and we'll adjust the Zoom levels.
As Sean mentioned, what we're going to be doing is training on features that we were hoping to have released today, but there are 2 bugs that are being addressed literally as we are doing this. The programming team is actually trying to resolve 2 specific bugs that have kind of crept into this software before we were going to release it today, and of course we had to hold off on that until they're fixed. Probably by the time we're done with this webinar, the bugs will be resolved, and then everything needs to be tested. So realistically, overnight, probably in the morning, everything will be ready to go, and we'll have it uploaded on the main server and live for you. So when you log in tomorrow, not tonight, you'll see a screen that looks very similar to what if you're brand new, when you come into the software and you have you have not created any projects, there's no existing projects yet, you'll see a screen that looks just like this. It will say your projects are 0, and in this case, there's the account that I'm logged in here. There's actually a project that was shared with this account, which is that right here. But what you'd want to do to start a new project is simply go ahead and say create new project. But what I would like to do is actually remove this screen and jump over to a screen that has some other projects. So you can see what it looks like when there are multiple projects. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this as well. So now you can see here is what a screen looks like with a number of shared projects in it. And if I wanted to create a new project, let's say for the sake of this webinar, I would go ahead and click this tan icon right here, create a new project, and I get prompted immediately for a new project, and it says cool. And what you do is go ahead and remove what is in the box, and we'll call this the training webinar project. The name is any, and go ahead and press OK, and the project will be created for your account, and after a moment you'll be taken directly into the project. Now, the first thing you'll notice is when you log in, there are pre-created tabs, 3 tabs across the top. Each of these tabs have 2 sub-tabs, and each sub-tab is a single bubble is created. We're going to get into this in just a moment. Let me go ahead first and go back to the other mode and show you how you might delete a project if that's what you wanted to do. So if I go into open mode, from file menu I can press open right here, and it will bring back up the screen here with all the different projects. To simply remove a project, I can just go ahead and press X, and you'll have to confirm that you want to delete this project. Because this is stored online, there is no way to recover a project once you delete it. So we do get a double confirmation here, and basically it says to please confirm that you do want to delete the project in question. You have the ability to back out at this point as well. And of course, if I press confirm now, at this point it's too late. The project itself will be deleted, but there actually is a third thing, because as we go through this training, you're going to see that there are backups and media that are associated with the project. So all of those backups exist independent of the project. So at this point, it's questioning, do you want to even remove the backups in all the media? And of course, if I press confirm here, there is no backing out. But theoretically, if someone had went through the double confirmation and realized, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't want to delete this. You could say, no, don't delete this, and then restore the project, which we'll show you how to do in this training. But in this case, just to show you how you delete something, I can go ahead and confirm, and now the project will be removed from my account. So let me go back into a project. Actually, let me show you how you would go ahead and back up and restore an account. So let me go into the webinar training project here. Let me open that up. Let me just add some data. So we're going to go through how to do all this stuff in a moment. But here is some data here. And in order to, let's just say I want to do a backup or restore. Now, first of all, in terms of saving, let's talk about saving first. As you're working, you can always go ahead up here and press the save button. And it's a good idea, of course, to always be saving. The data is transferred onto the storage server online on the cloud, and you have a timestamp of when the data was saved. There is now, with this release, not the current release that's in live currently, but once this is pushed tomorrow, there is an autosave with this. The autosave runs every 5 minutes. If you make any kind of changes, every 5 minutes a save will run automatically onto the server without you needing to do any kind of action on your part. In fact, it's the autosave feature that one of the bugs that are being fixed, is being fixed has to do with autosave. The backup that I mentioned is created every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, the save is constantly saving your project, but a version of your project every 10 minutes is being backed up, and I believe the number is 20 deep. So theoretically, the last 2 hours or almost 3 hours worth of time would be stored in the backup if you worked straight through for 20 blocks of 10 minutes. Actually, that would be 16. It's more like 6.5 hours. Huh?
Yeah, you're pretty close.
Yeah. But it's not close at all. Don't get me doing math. I'm trying to do training here.
Yeah. But the point is that you know, if there's ever any fear of data loss from anybody, just know that regardless of all the auto saving, all the manual saves that you may choose to do for your own comfort level, you always have those backups that can be restored.
Right, so let me go ahead and show you. So if I wanted to restore from a backup, I would go ahead and press the restore here. Now the restore pulls it from the automatic backups that are stored on the server that I just mentioned that are run every 10 minutes. So, and you can see all the different restore points. This is not an active count that is used. It's more of a trial test account that we use. So if I was in my real live account, there'd be hundreds of points here going historically back all the way in as deep as 20 for each project. And I would just go ahead and select the project that I want to restore and click restore, and it would be uploaded without any issue. So, but I'm not going to do that right now because this is the project. Now, if I wanted to do a local backup, I'm not one of there's people who they get concerned about the cloud. What if the servers at Microsoft Azure blow up or something? What's going to happen to my data? So you can go ahead and do a local, and the truth is there's also other ways to, if you wanted to give somebody else your project, for instance. So you can go ahead and use this local backup option. And what the local backup option will do is it will take a backup of your entire project. In this case, there's not much, and it will download it to your local computer. So I'm going to go ahead and press that now, and you'll see what happens. And you get notified that the local stored account is not encrypted.
That message actually needs to change because they are encrypted now.
They are encrypted now.
Yep. But
so
that message needs to
you get notified that they are not encrypted when in fact they are encrypted, and we'll have that message updated. But you go ahead and press yes that you want to back it up, and there you can see it downloaded an XML file, which then can be used to, I can now figuratively hand the file off to Sean, who Sean can then go into his account, and he can upload the file into his account. And the way he would do that, he would go over here into File, and he would use this local restore option, and then he would go in here and he would choose, let me just move this off screen, the downloads, and he would find that file in his downloads. And just like this, there it is, training webinar project XML. If I hit open, it will automatically restore the project. And this is one of the bugs that they are fixing. And let me go ahead and reopen that project. So you can see the project actually was restored into my account, but one of the two bugs that they're fixing, I remember there were two bugs. One is the actual loading of that local restore back into your account. It works fine on the live version. It's just this one that we're pushing is not working. So let me just go ahead and reopen the project we're working in.
Now, some of you are thinking that this looks familiar. This is the exact process that you go through when you're loading up all the various frameworks that you download from the Webinar Control portal. So the process that Mitch just walked through, again, is the same as the video demonstration that's right there in there for your reference. So when you want to actually bring in those frameworks into your software, you'll just follow that same restore process, that local restore that Mitch just did. So once again, Mitch, it's File menu. It's in the File menu, and then select Local Restore, and you would navigate to your desktop or wherever you downloaded that file. And then once you click the Open button, which we won't do again, but once you click the Open, it would then load that file up. And again, the bug that Mitch just caught here is something that's being updated in the release version that we're working on.
Right, like I mentioned, there are two bugs that they're fixing, and one is the autosave related, and I'll show you what that is later. It's actually quite humorous. And the second one is the bug that we just came across.
Right, and Linda's asking, what does that mean, encrypted? It just means that when you think about data, that it's not legible. When you see all that gobbledygook sometimes on an encrypted file for security and data protection, you won't be able to use it or read it because the data is quote unquote encrypted for security and protection.
I mean, let me frame it like this: if you had very important what you considered, data that need to be safeguarded that you didn't want anybody who was unauthorized to see, this file they wouldn't be able to read it unless they went into a Control Writer account, uploaded that file, which they could easily do because it's not locked into any specific account that I know of, actually. That's what encrypted means. Certainly, all of your data that's stored on the server itself is not encrypted, and you can access it there. I mean, all the data that is stored on the server is encrypted when it's stored on the server in the cloud. So let's move forward to the next segment of. We've got a list here of training that we're going to cover. Did you have anything else to say on this, Sean?
No, I was just going to say let's start showing some basic actions ranging from your list. You got it.
Okay, so let's just talk about the bubbles, the tabs along the top. So to add a new tab or a new sub-tab, you just simply use the pluses. So that added a new tab. There were 3 before, now there's 4. Here you can see there are. Just work on sub-tab 1. There are 2 sub-tabs. I press this plus, and I have now 3 sub-tabs. Simple as that. If I want to remove a tab, let's say I want to get rid of tab 4. Let's do sub-tab first. So sub-tab 3, if I want to get rid of sub-tab, I go in the Edit menu, and I can say Remove Sub-tab, and it will delete that sub-tab. If I want to get rid of a whole tab here, I would go to the Edit menu, and I would say Remove Tab. And we put it on the Edit menu because removing a tab removes all the data, all the sub-tabs, all the title bubbles, all the information, and we didn't want to make it easy for people to do that. Of course, we do have the auto backups and the restore points if you ever make a mistake like that. If you want to rename these, you simply double-click in any of these tabs. So I want to rename this, name, as simple as that. Same here, double-click, name, and that's how you simply rename the tabs. Now, in terms of what we call title bubbles, to add title bubbles is simply to click on this little arrow there, and you can see I've added them. And to rename them, again, as simple as double-clicking and renaming. If I want to add new note bubbles, I can add a new note bubble above or below the one that has the word data in it. If I want to add one above the one that has data in it, I go above that element. In this case, it's a title bubble, and I go ahead and click that arrow, and you can see it inserted above the data bubble.
Mitch, let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit more. I know we're not, it's doesn't seem hard on ours, but some people are still saying it's a little fuzzy, so we'll just make it extra big. But for those of you, just if you have not maximized your screen, go ahead and do that. You'll get a much better view than the small window that comes by default.
So I zoomed in a little bit further. Now, if I want to add one after the bubble that says data, I simply go and click the arrow that's on that specific bubble itself. If I want to add a subnote, what we call a subnote, I use this right pointing arrow. And you get the little gray box that I can make more notes. Like that. All of these bubbles can be resized. So I can, for instance, make this wider. I can make it taller. And obviously, it's an empty bubble, but if there was data in it, certainly I might want to make it bigger or smaller in order to fit the data better. And the same goes for the sub-bubbles and also for the title bubbles as well. So everything can be resized. Everything can be moved around. So let's say I want to move this bubble here over to this column. So it's very important that you not try to drag from within the bubble itself. Even though I think you can do it, it gets a little fuzzy. It's good to get in the habit of dragging on the bottom bar itself, getting a clean area where the hand is, and then dropping it on the bottom bar of where you want to drop it. So, and the same thing goes for subnotes. I think if you can get in the habit of using the bottom bar for dragging and the bottom area for dropping, you'll find moving things around is much easier. So bottom bar to bottom bar. And the same goes if I wanted to drop on a different tab. Let's say I want to move this over to subtab 2. So I can drag this, hover over subtab 2, and it jumps to that tab. And I can simply drop, again, bottom bar to bottom bar. If I want to drag it to a totally different tab, I can just go up there and move it around a little bit there. And I've got it now on tab 2 and simply drop it where I want it to go. Let me look at our list of items we want to cover. We've covered all of these items, so we're going to move on to the next section.
Let's talk about the attachment section.
So let's say I want to add an attachment to this. That's what the little paperclip is. So there's different ways of adding an attachment. I can certainly add any kind of file. I can go browse. I can pick a file. We'll just pick this. Let's see what we got here. Tons of stuff here. Webinar course slides, part 1 PDF. That would be very appropriate to what we're dealing with because it's the webinar training. So if I would choose that PDF, I can go ahead and press open, and it will upload to the server. And this is going to actually take a moment. Got that. And I believe I can now, from within this, so once I add some other element, it will show me it's got solids. Yeah, that's a solid paperclip. Before, it was a not solid. So solid paperclip means that there's an attachment in that paperclip. And if I go ahead and select that, I have the slides. And from here, I can open it. I can download it to my local computer. All I have to do is click on it. And you've got different options: view, download, or cancel. Now, let's say I want to attach an audio note. So that's what the little microphone down here is for. I can simply go ahead and click that. It does say that you must allow access if prompted by your web browser. So in this case, usually it would appear over here on this top bar, and it would say, do you want to allow access, don't allow, or block? And clearly, in my case, I don't have to do that. And I simply press record, and now I would record my message, and when I'm done, I can press stop. It processes, your data is loaded up to the server, and it joins the webinar slides here in the box. Let's say I wanted to capture an image. So I hit the snapshot. Okay, same picture. I smile at the camera. And I hit take snapshot. It was a good shot of me. And the same thing, it goes into this attachment box. And of course, I can click on it to load it into the computer. And there it is. Whoa. Let's get rid of that. Okay, delete.
Mitch, let me just jump on a couple questions real quick here that are somewhat on the topic. Linda's just asking, can you copy and paste into another tab? So a couple of, just a general reminder to everyone first. Keep in mind that this software is running off a browser. And so one of the challenges when you're thinking about software development and everything else is that when you're relying on the browser and the cloud to do this stuff, you're competing with certain functionality that the browser shares that your software also sort of wants to use. So you have to sort of use different keyboard shortcuts, different things. And so if your instinct, for example, is to just try to do the control X's and in different aspects with bubbles or other visual elements, and you see it's not working, understand that that's probably because it's a browser level function. But having said that, Linda, if you want to copy and paste, so for example, if you go to the data, the bubble on the left there that says data, once you are inside the bubble, the standard keyboard shortcuts do work. So if you do your, on a Mac, it would be the Command and the C to copy, or Command X to cut. On Windows, it would be Control C or Control X, and then the Command or Control V to paste. And you can also right-click as well. So if you double-click on the word and you right-click, you will also have the copy level. The key thing is to remember to make sure that you are actually engaged within the bubble itself before you try to delete or to cut, because what will happen is it'll end up either backing you out of this page or logging it because you're doing a browser level function. So when you're in there, just make sure that you're engaged inside the bubble itself. Tom is asking, on the move operation, can you use clipboard shortcuts like Control X and Control Y? Yes, in terms of the text that I just described, you can do that. The ability to actually clone a bubble or a tab and do that with keyboard shortcuts, that is coming in a future update. So we'll get into that when we get into the update section. Right now, the only thing that you can clone, and Mitch will show you where that is shortly, is you can clone a full project. So if you just want to literally duplicate everything you did in a full project, you can clone that. With that, Mitch, we're caught up on questions, so back to you.
Okay, so let me move on to the next section, and that is probably one of the most exciting parts of this software, which is we're going to talk about the collaboration. And collaboration hinges on this button right here that says share. So let's just say this training webinar project, I wanted to share it with somebody. So I can go ahead and press share here, and I would enter the email address of the person I want to share, which is that other account that was empty, Outlook.com I created. And I'm going to go ahead and I can set a, because I'm zoomed in all the way, I have to zoom out for this. Just to drop, okay? So now there's 3 modes when you want to share with somebody. So I can put the email address in here. I can put multiple email addresses in here, but it's separated by comma with no spaces. So if I wanted to put 2 email addresses, it would be email.whatever.com without a space in between. In this case, I'm just going to invite the other user into this project. There are 3 permission levels. Read-only means they would have the ability to view the project in real time. They can see changes as they're being made, and we're going to see that in a moment. Edit mode means they can participate. They can actually make edits to the project. And then admin mode means that they have the ability, they don't have ownership of the project, they have the ability to invite other users into the project. So in this case, I will go ahead and give this user edit mode for now. And this is the button to activate this. This is a settings button we'll talk about in a moment. And we're going to probably revisit the way this layout is a little bit in our next release after this particular one. But go ahead and press that. And the email addresses that you put into this box will be sent an email notification that they've been invited. Even if they don't have an account, they will get an email saying that they've been invited by such and such person, in this case would be Mitchell German, has invited you, and they're invited to open an account if they don't have one. So now that I've invited somebody, you'll notice a couple things changed. There was a message that said you were joining the project. You'll notice the second half of the sharing button appeared, which is a little person, which shows other users that are involved with this project. In this case, he's not, the other user is not active. There would be a notification here that he would be active. And at the bottom, you can see right here that there's now a chat window. I'm the only user that is currently active in the project, but let me go ahead and bring the other user into this project. Give me 1 second to find the correct web browser. Right here. Okay, so here is that other user that I showed you before that had only one project. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this open screen. And now you'll see it says Training Webinar Project is a project that's shared with this user. So if I go ahead and click on that, I can see now the project has been opened and he's subscribing to the project. Now,
Mitch, let's make sure, even if we have to take an extra minute or two to zoom in and out, let's make sure we slow down and really give people a good close look at these things. So
let me zoom back in, as Sean pointed out, because I had zoomed out before. So a number of things have happened. Let me just move this project out that I've joined and go back to this main project that we're looking at. Zoom in again. So you'll notice here that if I click on this now, you can only see half of it because I'm zoomed in. It's a little green circle there right next to that name, because now that user has joined into the project. So this shows who is an active user. You'll also notice that over here I can now chat. Let me bring this guy over. If I say hi here, you'll notice that the one appeared down here in the bottom right corner over here, because that chat now is being it's a chat among users who are a cool guy. I didn't know I did that. Okay. Because I had set this up that we were testing this new version of the software, so I added an account. So now let me just show some. Let me close this out. Zoom out for a second. Okay. Zoom back in. So let me just show you that this is a real-time collaboration. So let me just zoom in on this back screen. And now over here, if I have this one user here and a second user here, watch what happens in the back user as I type in here.
Right, you can see as Mitch is typing that, the live user feedback, you see that green glow around? That's letting you know not only the fact that somebody is actually currently editing that bubble in real time, but also which user it is based on the color code that was set up in the collaborators list, that little person icon up next to the sharing button. So go one more time, Mitch, so they can see that again. So see right there around there, you could see that green glow right about where Mitch is saying, this is me typing, I'm typing some more. And perfect. And of course, the same would be true on that screen, Mitch, if you did it the other way. Show them.
That's right. And it's hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to do the other way because I'd have to let me just try to resize. I have to resize screens here.
Let them see it just so that they can see the different colors and the different feedback.
That's okay.
It's worth it. We're not in any rush.
So let's just here. This is now this user's all collapsed, and now oops. So if I go ahead and delete that, you can notice right away over here, this user it's gone, and I'll type in here.
And as he's typing there, you can see that in this case, Mitch's color is yellow there, so you see the yellow glow around that. Really, really cool stuff, because this is all happening literally instantly in real time. We get people asking all the time, is it really live? Does it really happen that quickly? Yes, this happens instantly, real time, as you're seeing it.
And then
Tom is saying that's cool, similar to Google Docs. It's actually better than Google Docs in that sense, because it's literally done on the bubble level. But yes, in terms of functionality, very similar. Google Docs has the cursor represented as a different color. In this case, the bubble is just glowing in that color.
Yes, and of course it applies to all elements. So for instance, just let me rename the name tab. So okay, new name. As soon as I hit enter, it got renamed on here. Same thing here. New name.
Right. Tom is asking how many people can collaborate at the same time. There is currently no limit to the number of people that can collaborate at the same time, Tom. We haven't done dramatic stress tests beyond 10, 12, 15 users at the same time on the servers. At some point, depending on the size of the organization, we would move to things like private servers, dedicated servers, depending on the size of the organization and what type of traffic there is anticipated it being. But right now, through all of our tests, we've had as many as 6, 8, 9, 10 different users at a time, and all are able to log and collaborate successfully.
Right. Those are testing environments. We've actually used, I think it was 6. We were actively using it at the same time.
That's right.
but we've tested it upwards of 10. And just here, everything, if I create a bubble here, I'm going to insert a bubble above this one here. So I'll add bubbles. You can see bubbles are instantly being added over here on the right. Text. Everything's instantaneous. It's very fast. It's very, very fast. We've had coders look at this, and we've been interviewing for a new coder recently, and we were showing people this software, and they were blown away by the programmers who were very experienced were like, that's really powerful, well-written code to be that fast.
That's right.
I'm going to rename these along the top. You can just see as I rename them, literally, it's changing. And this is not going. This is going out to the server and back down to my computer. And you see how instantaneous everything is.
It's a live, online cloud update. Tony's asking what happens when both are editing the same object. Great question, Tony. And the answer to that is right now you are only able to edit within the same project in any different area, but you cannot currently work inside the same bubble. So if a user is typing in a particular bubble, that's the reason you get that feedback with the color glow around the outside, so you know that current object is being edited. But literally, the split second that user is done typing in that bubble, the other user can jump in and make a note. So as soon as if you're working with someone, for example, and you see that bubble is being used, literally the second that color on the outside disappears, you can jump right in and make your own edit to the bubble.
You are locked out of the bubble while it's that color.
Right, but on that note, it's sort of cool for this type of a demonstration to be able to show you that user feedback. But a lot of times, in a more practical sense, Tony and everybody, what's really going to happen is that multiple users are going to be in totally different areas of the project. So, for example, Mitch, if you go to now,
I'm currently in a total different area. Here, this
good. One, you're in number
the one
3.
at the back is on the tab called New Name. And here, this one is in the tab 3, and that's why the content is different. And if I'm making changes here, notice you're not actually seeing the changes because we're in a different section. But now, if I jump over, let me just push this aside, and I'm going to jump over to 3, tab 1. 3, tab 1. There are the changes I just made. Now I'll go back over here and continue typing, and you can see I'm on my other screen typing.
Right. Tony is saying again, it'll lock you out. Yes, but again, remember that these updates are literally instantaneous, Tony. So when you say locked out, quote unquote, it's you're talking about a matter of seconds or even a split second that the user wouldn't be able to do it.
Right. You're only locked out while that color is glowing because somebody else is actively typing.
Actively typing, exactly. And you don't necessarily want to type over someone's cursor anyway. So it's a very practical lockout so somebody can finish updating a note, and then you can jump right back in there and do it. It's usually a matter of seconds. Tom is saying, so collaborators can work on different bubbles at the same time then. Exactly, Tom.
Definitely. Different bubbles you can totally be working on. Different bubbles, different tabs. Everybody can be creating. We can easily have 4 or 5 different people typing in different bubbles on the same screen. That's not a problem.
That's right.
Type inside the same bubble.
Exactly. Just looking at the collaboration list to make sure we cover.
So let me just show you. So now there's a settings here. Let me just jump over here. I'm going to change I got to pull this out because it's on top. If I go here to sharing, I do have to zoom out for this. Okay, so I've got the share settings here. So now under the share settings, I can here now I would see all the different users that have been shared with this project, and I can change the mode. So right now, that other account that we're using is in edit mode. If I change it to read-only mode, watch what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. And now it says, control writers change your access to read-only. I have no ability to make any edits or changes to the project. But what's really cool is just because I don't have the ability to make any edits or changes to the project doesn't mean I can't see what's going on in real time. I'm locked out, so this is very good for a manager who doesn't necessarily have to be actively involved but wants to just be able to peer in at what a user might be doing on a project. So they would have read-only access, and they can literally go in there, a teacher, for instance, or something like that. They can go in there and literally look over the shoulder as the user is working.
Exactly.
The other setting over here is share settings. Is I could change the person to an admin. As I mentioned, an admin allows the user to, the other user would then be allowed to actually they would have this panel, so they would be able to add other users. And finally, revoke access. I don't want that guy involved anymore. I go ahead, select revoke access, and instantaneously that other user is out of the project. In fact, if I pull the screen up now, before I can even pull it up, notice where he's listed at. He's back in his open menu, back in the open menu, and the project is now gone from the list.
So a couple of reminders here before Mitch goes on to the next area. Again, we've got some people that are asking, will there be additional training or additional questions? Just remember, guys, our support team is not going out of business. So anytime you guys have questions about the software in any capacity, and they don't just need to be technical issues or technical questions. If you have a creative question that you're stumped on, or want some ideas, or you want to think about joining different areas, or you want to see what's going on, again, just email support@controlwriter.com, and we will always respond very quickly to your requests. But the other thing is we're going to be coming to in just a moment. A lot of the things that Mitch is showing you and alluding to is as powerful as some of you guys are saying it is, and we're thrilled that you love it. You're going to see very shortly that there is a reason that we wanted to give you guys lifetime access, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. What's coming, even in a matter of just a couple of weeks, you won't even believe it when I tell you. But we're going to give you a whole list of some really, really cool stuff that's right around the corner. But obviously, as you can see, we've packed a tremendous amount of power, even in the version that sits before you. I was going to say today, but technically it'll be tomorrow, as Mitch is training on here.
So now let's go ahead and talk about this big arrow that we've been ignoring for all this time. Because if you log into the current software, you won't see the big arrow. And the big arrow is a very new addition. And if I click the big arrow, I get into what we call document mode. And again, as cool as collaboration is, this is pretty high up there in the cool scale. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, and you'll see what happens. Out pops my Word document. And I can literally start typing. I've got my notes here. Here's my bubble title. I can navigate to wherever I need to be in terms of reading my notes. And I can go ahead and type this is my we'll call it my copy for my ad.
Can we zoom in a little bit here, Mitch? It's really hard to read.
Yes, I will zoom in. So again, that's pretty far
Let's
in.
show that again, and then I know with the zoom it's kind of hard.
What happens is because you can't really zoom with this mode.
I think we just have to sort of like go out, and then as soon as we do everything, just zoom in each thing so they can see. It's a little cumbersome, but I want to make sure people can read it and follow along.
So if I go ahead and close that out, so again, go ahead and press that arrow, and out pops a Word document, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. And it's literally a Word document that you're familiar with. It's rich text, and most of the other formatting and styling and positioning and that kind of stuff should be self-explanatory if you have any familiarity at all with working with Word documents. So, but now I want to do something also very cool, and I want to add that user back in because we took him out of the collaboration, but collaboration is not just for bubble mode, it's also for Word mode. So let me go ahead and add that user back in.
Now, Tom is actually asking another great question, which we'll actually come to in another section here, Tom, but I'll answer it for you now anyway. He's saying, can you use this as a way to present material to multiple users who are on the phone but are looking at the ControlWriter software in real time as readers? Absolutely, that's a great idea. In fact, we're right in the middle as a company of our Series A financing round, and one of the things we're doing, obviously, is doing live demonstrations with people all across the country and all across the world, where Mitch is in one location overseas, I'm here in Florida, we've got other people in the Northeast, and in this case, they were in Pennsylvania in a financial office. And so we were literally demonstrating collaboration and all these other elements from all of those different locations as they were looking on in a user account. And as Mitch explained in the settings, you do have the ability to invite people to read-only status for whatever you're showing them.
So now what I've done here while Sean was talking, I took that other account that I've got set up here, and maybe if you remind me, I'll show you how to have multiple projects open. And for someone who wishes to have two accounts, And we can also show you how to have two accounts on the same computer. This is using an incognito window with Google Chrome.
Tom is asking, is it Word or is it rich text? It is not Word. This is not Microsoft Word that is integrated. It is a separate word processor, and as we're going to explain to you in the next section.
But it is a rich text editor.
It's rich text, but it's not Word. And so, just to clarify, but we're going to, in the next section where we talk about some upcoming features, we're going to show you some of the things that are coming right down the pike for the expansion of this entire document area. Go ahead, Mitch, sorry.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, because just so you guys can see more clearly, I'm going to take this screen off to my second screen here, and I'm going to start typing in this, and I'm going to show you what happens over here. So keep your eye on this document, and as I'm typing, it says above that screen right over here, you saw, I stopped, it says who is working and typing in that project. So there you can see, and I would see the reverse. If I started typing here, I would see on the other screen that this user's typing. If I want to add more documents, I can go ahead and hit this plus right over here, and I can have additional documents. One of the things we're going to be doing, and I'll just mention it quickly, and because we're going to be talking about the highlights, probably within just a week or two, you're going to be able to not only have Word documents, but spreadsheets as well. It's going to be added into this. So you would not only have inside of all of your notes, all of your information, all of your research, all your materials that you're putting together as far as notes go, but you're going to be able to have multiple Word documents, call them Word documents, multiple rich text documents, and multiple spreadsheets, all within the same project and accessible across multiple users and accessible from anywhere within the project with one click of clicking that.
That's right. We'll show you guys a screen of what that's going to look like as well.
If I want to rename this, I go up to document mode. Right now, this is not double clickable. It's something we're going to be modifying. There was some challenges in making that work correctly. So for now, you go up to here and you say rename document from there, and I can give it a new name. And go ahead and rename, and you can see the name changed. And it also changed, by the way, over here on the other user. It's fully up to date constantly. Every change is being made. I can rename bubbles here. New bubble. New bubble. I renamed it. See? So everything's constantly being kept up to date, and there's also the ability to print from here and print from here as well.
Did you show the menus yet? Did you do a re-review of all the menus or not?
We didn't, but I was going to do the View tab next.
Okay.
So the View tab is, so if I click the View tab, we see a number of things going on here. First of all, you have an outline, which in the outline is all of my bubble data. So the new name, bubbles, the tab 2, bubbles, and attachments. By the way, remember we have some attachments here. And the tab 3, and the bubbles and subtabs. If I go to View, you'll see there's the new name tab, the multiple subtabs, and down here, here's tab 2, the subtab, and notice that even right here inside the outline are the attachments. And I can go ahead and access the attachments from inside the outline. So this is really powerful stuff in terms of if I wanted to generate an outline, I could actually see the different attachments. Of course, on paper, you wouldn't be able to access them. But here in an outline form, I've got complete access to all of my project, and I can print this out and really reference it. So one of the things that has confused people is, what is this final outline? This is outline. What is final outline? Well, final outline is the same thing, but it's really for printing out. Notice that there's no attachments referenced here. It's only the data in the bubbles, the text data. That's the difference between outline and final outline. So now you'll see the three things along the line. The rest is new name, new document, new document. These are actually the documents. So this is the document that I created. If I leave this mode, I open this again, here's my new name document and the two new documents I created. If I go back to View mode, here they are. There's my documents that are inside the project. And as I mentioned, at some point, it'll actually be Excel sheets as well.
Now, I know on some of this stuff, everyone, we're moving a little bit quickly as we open up to Q&A. If there's anything that you want us to go back and demonstrate and show you once again, or zoom in, zoom out, we're happy to do that. But just remember, this is going to be in your members area perpetually on demand to watch in training. You'll also see some of this training section broken out on the main Control Writer website under the training area, so you can look at a specific feature if you want a refresher.
So now let me just quickly go through the entire menus and make sure there's nothing we missed. So under File menu, you have the New Project, which is to bring you to the new project, directly to the new project window. If I click that, I would be prompted to name a new project. Open brings me to the Open menu, where I see all my projects. Save is just, I can process the save. Like I said before, it's auto-saving, and this is saved within the last 4 minutes. I have not pressed save the whole time we've been working. A save was processed just a few minutes ago. Clone, so clone would be to duplicate the whole project. So I'm going to make a major change to a project. I've been working on this, but maybe I'm not going to like these changes. It's going to be moving things around and really a lot of shifting things. And what if I decide I don't like those changes, or I want to share that version with somebody else, but not this original version? So I can go ahead and just hit clone. I'll show you what this looks like since we haven't looked at that yet. And all that you're prompted with is the ability to rename, to give it a new name. So Control Writer project, we'll call it 2, and I'll press clone. And I believe I get taken into that cloned project, which I did. So if I go File, Open, and bring me my menu, we're zoomed in here, but if I just go over here, we'll see that.
Yep, you had it, Training Project 2. You had it there in the lower right.
Yes.
Right next to the Create.
Training Webinar Project 2. So I'm zoomed in, it's throwing me off. Yeah, so that's the one we're in right now. This is the original one. So we'll go back into that project. And we need to report another bug. So I'll let you do that, Sean. That when they
I didn't see that. I was answering a question. Sorry.
A clone project doesn't open. So this may be fixed by the same bug that's with the restore.
That's the one he's working on. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, and again, guys, like we said, we gave lifetime access for a reason, but the challenge you always have in software is making those determinations of when to hold everything back and when to release it, because 95% of what you have available is so powerful and so productive for people that you've got your early adapters and excited users who want to just get going, and they'll put up with minor bugs and issues, but naturally it's never fun to see them. But just know that anytime there is something, the best help that you can do for us is to not be bashful. Don't be shy. Please do let us know and support that you're seeing a bug. If it's something that has been addressed, we can always help you get rid of it. And if it's something that we don't know about, then we appreciate it even more, because our one and only goal here is to make sure that you have the best possible user experience with Control Writer over your lifetime, not just a year, not just 2 years. There are no more recurring billings as it relates to Control Writer software for you folks. You are in it for life as long as you want to be in it, and you'll get the benefit of all the great updates. But we really appreciate it when you see something that you'd like to see or that's not working properly, because if we don't know about it, then we can't fix it. So just keep that in mind as you continue to use the software.
But don't worry, by the time you have access to this, the clone feature will be fixed or it will not be there, because it also corrupted my main project. So this is why we are very slow in putting these things out there. Anyway, so moving down the File menu, the rename. So if I go ahead and press rename, I can call this Webinar Control Training. We'll call it 4. And the project has been renamed. Then further down, we've got the restore, which we covered before, but that would be to see the list of different projects that have been automatically backed up. And here you can actually see, as we've been doing this training, roughly every 10 minutes a backup point has been created. You'll notice that here there suddenly are multiple, not every 10 minutes. That's because when I was working with the other user, when I was working with the other user, he was also creating a restore point and automatically backing up the project. So there are more restore points created when there are multiple users inside the project.
But this is good in a way because it gets to show you, are you going to restore that project, Mitch, or are you just moving past it?
No, I'm moving past it. I think we'll address that bug. As a matter of fact, I'm wondering if the reason I had that issue is because the other user, when I renamed it, was still in the project. So could be a different kind of issue there, I'm thinking. So anyway, moving on. Local backup, I mentioned before, is to create a file that gets dumped down to your local computer, and local restore is to take that project and restore it into your account. And log out is to exit your account completely. So the edit mode is right now to remove tabs, as I mentioned before, and to remove subtabs. That's the only way to remove a tab or subtab. The
print menu really contains both print and export functionality. So if we go back to that, did it lock you out there, Mitch?
No, I'm here.
Okay. So if you go into print, you can see that you've got a few four export options. You can export your entire outline and file as a PDF, as an HTML, as a text file, or if you want to get like a image. Keep in mind, of course, that the more content you have on there, the smaller the size of those PNG images is going to be, but you can certainly export the image file. And then, of course, you have the option to either print the text outline or print the PNG file.
We actually had a user that complained that said, I created this project and I wanted to print it, and it came out really tiny. And of course, it's a huge project. She ended up printing it like she had to go to a professional printer, and they printed it like 3 feet wide, and in order for it to put it on the wall so they could reference it. And I was like, well, of course, it's not going to be, if you try to print something that's huge, the size of a sheet of paper, it's going to be small.
Right. And that said, of course, you can control print settings in your, in your normal print settings. If you want to zoom it in or enlarge the print size, you've got the ability to do that in those print browser level settings, just like any other printing document.
So moving on is, okay, so under document mode, that is all referring to this mode here. When you're in a document, these are the controls of that document mode. And then save is just to save the save button.
Right. So depending on how you like to be, I can tell you, for me personally, in programs where I have that Command S, unless I know that the autosave is literally instant, like after every keystroke, pretty much after any major edit, I'm ingrained myself in the habit. So if you want to save more frequently than every 5 minutes, which is the autosave time setting, just know that you can, as often as you like, just click that save button there, and you'll see that anytime you do, the last saved in the top right corner there will reflect your latest save time, even if it's just a few seconds later. And Mitch, I think that pretty much covers the feature list. Keep in mind, everyone, that we had two purposes in going through it this way, even though some of it might have been a little fast. Is number one, we wanted to give you a sort of a quick, broad overview and cover as many detailed features as we can, but we're happy to cover any more that you want us to repeat during Q&A, but also because this is going to be on-demand viewing, so feel free to go back and check. We will make sure on our website, as we said in the training area, once it's updated, there will be a breakout of specific features, so you won't have to watch this whole video. You'll be able to say, hey, if I want to learn how to set up collaboration, you'll be able to just click the link to the collaboration section, and it'll be able to give you that part of the demonstration. But that said, I think it is time to start talking about what is coming down the pipe. Mitch, do you have that PDF document? I think let's start with document mode, since that's probably coming the soonest.
Which PDF document?
Remember the mock-ups, the new UI mock-up?
Okay, will you speak while I find it?
Okay, so basically,
I'm still sharing, right? You're still sharing.
Yeah, you're still sharing. So go into the document mode, at least, so we can see that, and then zoom in, and I'll just talk about it. And then when you find that document, we'll describe it. So as we said, right now, when you want to actually create an output, you've got the documents. So actually, let me jump on these questions while you're looking for that, Mitch. So I don't want to get behind here. So Tom says lifetime access is awesome. It was since you. Okay, great, Tom. Yes, that's what we wanted to do for you folks is give you that lifetime access. Tony's saying, did you say that you can use Command S? I was actually saying, Tony, that I am in the habit in programs that allow you to do that, to just use that save shortcut. But nowadays, so many programs have autosave, I don't need to. And once again, there is no Command S in this one because it conflicts with a Chrome level browser function. So you cannot use Command S. You have to click on that Save button or just wait for the 5-minute autosaves. And same answer on the Control S. And Yvonne's saying, aloha, Yvette. Welcome, Yvette. I did see that you joined and answered you earlier. So as I was saying, in terms of document mode, and Mitch is going to find something to give you guys a sneak peek, right now you can see that the output that you're creating here is pretty much in a word processing functionality. It allows you to create this one document, as many documents as you like. What's going to happen, though, in the coming weeks is that when you click on that plus sign over next to the print icon up there at the top bar, is that you'll be asked what type of an output you want to create. Do you want to create a slide presentation? Do you want to create a document? Or do you want to create a spreadsheet? Those are the things that are coming. So, and any closer, Mitch? If not, I'll just find it very quickly and drop it.
No, not any closer. No closer. Oh, while you look, I'll tell the funny story. This is what we deal with as programmers. You're just going into doc mode here, reminding me. So, for instance, we have the 2 bugs I mentioned. There might be 3, but still, I think the restore is related to the other bug. So one of the issues we have with the autosave is if I create a bubble here and I put a note here, and I go into document and I put a note here. So we were having problems with the autosave, where the autosave would process only the saving of the tab level information, but it was not processing the document mode. So we told our programmers, look, there's an issue here, we've got to get it fixed. And they hurried today to have it fixed today for you guys so we could release it in time for this. And I'm not joking, that now the software, what's going on right here, is it's saving the bubbles and the tabs, and it's not saving the document in autosave. So now they're fixing that right now as we speak. So it's that's what you deal with when you're trying to create software. Sean,
this isn't the one, Mitch. The one I dropped is related. It's the one that is going to show how the different bubble updates are going to work, and I'm about to find the other ones. Bear with us, folks. Just 1 second. I want to give you guys this peek because a picture says 1,000 words in this case, and I want you to have. Okay, here it is.
Okay, I got this other one.
You know what? Maybe it is. The one I gave you, I think, is it actually?
No, the one you gave me only has doc mode. It shows the linking.
Here it is.
I think the other one's to go through first.
Here it is. Okay, coming right up. As soon as it transfers to Mitch there. Rather than switch screen shares, we'll just do it. So yeah, open up that second, Mitch, because it has everything actually. So again, the other thing that you'll see once we show this is that there's actually going to be, not just the spreadsheets, the presentations, but what's going to be available in Control Writer through the marketplace and everything else is the ability to have premium templates that are actually locked into place. So for example, if you're an attorney and you want to figure out how to have sort of boilerplate contracts that you don't have to keep starting from scratch, you want to sort of have preset sections and create a permanent document output. Or if you generate proposals for different clients or prospective clients, you want to just return to that same proposal format time and time again. You will be able to do that in this document area. So here you can see, let's really zoom in on that because it's a little hard to see. So what you can see here up top, you see how right now, currently, we only have the document, but when we have the updated release, you can see that there's also spreadsheets, there's also presentations. So when you click that plus sign, it's going to ask you, as I said, do you want to create a document? Do you want a spreadsheet? Do you want a presentation? Or if you're in one of those premium versions of the program, premium templates, let's say you're a screenwriter or you're writing a novel. It may ask you, do you want to generate a new novel? Do you want to generate a new script? A new play, a new.
Hello?
What just happened there?
We definitely had a little bit of a dropout, folks, but I think hopefully is everybody back in? Or did we
I see 18 live out of total. Wow. What, did you click a button or?
Not me. We're still broadcasting. I lost my. I did lose my Webinar Jam panel, but I'm still broadcasting, so we should still be broadcasting to the viewers. So we should be okay.
Let me just see if it's in the control panel. It's still showing that it's broadcasting.
Do you have the management panel?
I don't think so.
Why don't you re-enter and see if you can get the management panel up? I don't want to mess around with the broadcast. Folks, if you're seeing this, just let us.
Guys, if you're here, we see your picture, Sean, but not the screen share. Okay, yeah. Mitch, try screen sharing again. I think it sees me, but it's locked on me at the moment.
So I can't even. I lost my entire.
Oh, you don't even have the ability to share anymore?
No, I can share. I don't have the Webinar Jam panel anymore.
Okay. Well, you know what we'll just have to do is.
But I can I can control everything else. That's fine.
Okay, guys, if you could just we had a little glip there, but it seems we're still here. Would you be kind enough to just type in the chat that you are seeing Mitchell's screen share, the blown up image of the document, the spreadsheet, the presentation, and spreadsheet 2. I'll just wait a second. Claude's saying I can see and hear both of you. And again, the question is, can you see and hear? I got my
Webinar Jam panel back up and running too, so we're back in business, everybody.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
So let's just continue right where we left off, and when you guys watch the replay of this, that will be all cut out.
That's right.
Magically, it will disappear.
We see Mitch's screen. Here we are. This time we didn't have to reschedule the whole thing. We are rolling with the drop. All right, so let's talk about this section, Mitch, and I'll let you sort of be my robot arm here. Let's zoom out just a little bit so they can see I think it's one of the other pages, Mitch, the one that really breaks out this. Okay, perfect. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit more. So right now, what's happening, guys, in the document mode is that it is basically just a long form. I'm using Word generously here. Of course, it's not Microsoft Word. We don't want to represent that it is, but it is a word processing document in free form. The vision and what is going to really be revolutionary about this document editor, and right now I'm speaking not of spreadsheets or presentations, but specifically about document editing, is that there is going to be a direct relationship between the bubbles on the left and the document. So for example, a lot of times when you're taking your notes and you're working within your frameworks and you are generating copy along the way, rather than having to type everything out all over again, what you'll be able to do is basically you can see how there's an example of this lorem ipsum bubble, and there's a blue outline around this. What's going to happen is you will literally have a button that can just transfer the text in one click right over to the document on the right. The other thing that you'll notice is to the left of the paragraphs, and Mitch, you're not seeing my cursor as I move it, so I'm realizing I'm pointing with my cursor, but they're not seeing my cursor. So if you can just see the blue arrows that you see to the left of the paragraphs in the document, right there, Mitch, it's got crosshairs right now. It's a little bit hard to see, but yeah, he's drawing it out. So those arrows, these are represented and coordinating to those various sections of text. So what's going to happen is you're going to actually be able to drag and drop and change the order of those paragraphs of text. So when you think about when you're an author and you're working on a chapter for your book, or you're working on a long essay or a long sales campaign, or even a particular section of a contract or a proposal, it may be that you want to very easily switch sections around and move them. And in the coming versions, you will be able to do just that by simply dragging and dropping these blocks of text so that your final output looks the way you want it to look in this manner. Is there anything else I missed on these sheets, Mitch? I think that pretty much covers the bubble. So that's something that's coming real soon. Let's go to that the opening project layout, because I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of this. If we go back to our open project mode, right now what you see is a visual representation up on the top. Let's go ahead and zoom in there again. Of right on top, you've got your projects there. And on the bottom, you have, of course, the projects that you are collaborating on, the projects that people have shared with you. What this visual dashboard is actually going to turn into is it's going to be like a manager's dashboard. So here's what's going to happen. It's a little hard to imagine, although I think we actually have I think we've got a UI for this too, Mitch. So when I break for you to speak, I will find it so people can get an idea of what that's going to look like. But what's going to happen is in the projects that are shared with you, what you're going to be able to see real time is which projects are actually active and which users are active in the project. So what's going to happen is when a project is active, it's going to be a different color, like a green, and it will glow. So you'll be able to see as a manager, when you log into this, you'll be able to know that, let's say you're running a sales team of 2 or 3 different people, and you'll see that maybe they're busy working on different campaigns. So I'll look at here and I'll see, oh, look at this, FanPage Successor. Yvette and Ruggiero are working on their framework. Let me go and see if I can jump in and help them. And I'll click right on there because I know that right now they're active. So Mitch, as you explain that a little further, I'm going to see if I can find the visual for it so we can make even more sense.
There's a few different pieces of information that's going to be integrated into this open screen project, open screen mode. First of all, obviously, projects that you have shared. See, right now this just shows all my projects that I own, but there's going to be now information that shows that a project has been shared with other people. And as Sean explained, there are actually going to be color references when a project is being actively worked on. And by simply hovering over this, it will show you who is actively working inside that project. So now if I see a project, Sean is dropping me the file.
Yeah, I just dropped it for you. So you guys will be able to see this when Mitch, when he opens up this file, but you'll see that represented by different colors and different glowing and different pieces of information. He'll open it in just a second. So
well, this is the one with all the notes.
That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. Let's just give him an idea of we're I know that you guys always appreciate the transparency, so we're just being completely transparent for you, including some of the specs here. But in any event, you can see here that there's different glow and there's different notes that come up. So here you can see where Mitch's cursor is right now. It shows a project there, and you can see that it shows who is actually editing, which one of the users are actually currently editing that project. So if you know that you need to talk to them and basically give them information, hey, listen, oh, I'm so glad you're online. You just jump right in that project because you know that Mitch is online and busy editing. You just jump right in there and give them real-time feedback. So again, guys,
and you actually see that this also shows like shows you some of the tab information, tabs, subtabs, so you can see a better insight.
Correct. Yeah, that's an actual preview of the content that's there. Exactly. Right. Good point, Mitch. So again, I don't want to get too bogged down in all the features, guys. I just want to show you some of the highlights. Obviously, these visuals may help a little bit, but as you can see, we're certainly not sitting idly on our hands, just resting on our laurels. It is a constant evolution of this program to make it one of the most powerful pieces of software you've ever used. And what we were telling Mike and Andy from the very beginning is, hey, look, we know how great the training is. We know how incredible it is to learn from you, Mike and Andy, and all the great content. But what's going to happen for those that are grateful enough and staying involved in ControlWriter, they're going to say, I can't believe these guys gave a lifetime access to this software. It is just absolutely over the top incredible, and we're already starting to see it, and I'm so glad you guys are appreciating it. Let's go into some other areas. Let's talk about available anytime, anywhere, from any device, folks. Obviously, right now, this is a cloud-based program available on the Chrome browser. Within the next 90 days to 120 days, we anticipate this being available on all mobile devices, Android. Initially, it will be released on the iPad, iOS device or tablets, and from there we will go into mobile phones. So of course you'll be able to access this. Currently, you can actually log in, and on a limited basis, you can actually use your iPad. Some of you may have experimented with that. You can actually work inside the document modes a little bit, some degree of editing inside the bubbles, but it's really very limited. We certainly don't want to represent that it is iPad usable in its entirety at this point, but just know that the mobile availability is coming really in this next wave of development. Certainly it is a 2015 feature. It is not something that's going to carry over many, many months and many, many years into the future. What are some of the other things, Mitch? I know we talked about
the data collection would be the big one.
Data collection, okay.
That's currently being worked on right now.
That's right. So in terms of data collection,
the bug fixes is one team, and there's another team that's doing this.
Right. So in terms of data collection, I think one thing to keep in mind, everyone, as just sort of as a frame is, the internet marketing community certainly represents a group of users. But one thing to understand is that this is software that is really designed not just for retail level users, but for the power of large corporations, Fortune 100 corporations. In fact, we're in talks with some very large, well-known tech firms, as well as some of the leading financial institutions in the world who are planning to be users of this software. And so the power of it on a collaborative level and other level in terms of the data that it can provide is really based to serve that. And so as a manager, what you guys are going to be able to literally do is you're going to be able to determine the productivity of your entire team as they're using it, because some of the data points that we will be tracking are going to be things like, who is actually creating a particular project? How much time did a particular user spend in an individual project? Who made a particular bubble update? As Mitch, you can see him typing there. Who is it that actually made that note that Mitch wrote? How long was he working in this project? And so not only will these data points be able to be collected, but you will also be able to run a dashboard report to see about your entire team's productivity and effectiveness as it relates to a project, tab, and a bubble level. And speaking of project, tab, and bubble level, how could I forget, Mitch? Right now, as you know, we demonstrated pretty thoroughly how you collaborate on an individual project level between users and your different team. Very soon, you will also be able to reduce that collaboration as tight as a tab or a sub-tab. So if I'm a manager of an organization, and let's say I've got 6 different salespeople, each represented by one of those 3 tabs at the top of Mitch's screen, I don't want salesperson number 2 to see salesperson's number 3's tab. Yet as the manager, I need to be able to share data and have that person communicate back and forth with me. So sales guy number 1 shares only his tab with me. Or in this case, if I'm a manager, maybe I am sharing my sales guy 1 tab only with sales guy 1 so that they can do that. So as you can see, the power of collaboration is going to be both broad in terms of entire team and entire project, but you're also going to have the power on the reverse side to be able to really lock in and share only a tab or a sub-tab. We thought about doing it on a bubble level. Whether or not we ultimately will is sort of still up in the air, but I think at a tab and sub-tab level, it's unlikely that you're going to have a bubble in a tab that you wouldn't want somebody else to see.
That's right. It will be also document level. So in other words,
that's right. That's right.
You're going to have you have project, tab level, sub-tab, and then of course the documents will also can be individually shared as opposed to the whole project.
Tom is asking a great question. Do we eat our own dog food for our internal software development and marketing? Yes, we do, Tom. And as a matter of fact, in the next section, which we're going to get to very, very soon, momentarily, in fact, we're going to show you exactly what a typical day might look like and various uses on a, outside of building a webinar campaign, for example, of what working with ControlWriter looks and feels like day to day. So any other features? But I think that pretty much covers it, guys. Just if you take away one thing from this particular segment of the presentation, just know that the features are coming fast and furious. You're going to be very quickly in the habit of what we're going to call cookie and cache clearers, which is once a week or a few times a week, you get in the habit of clearing your cache to see if there's an update that has been released even before we announce it. If you want a sneak peek at some of those key features of the software. So let's actually talk. Do you have any of those other files handy? Let's do this, Mitch. Do we have one of this any CW3 project file?
Well, let's see. Here's a CW again because it's not our main thing, but you can see here is a early version of some of our work that we were doing. Right. This is pretty early.
So let's just piggyback right off Tom's question, which is how we use it internally. The way we look at it, and I think you folks will start getting in the same habit, is ControlWriter is literally the operating system for our day. This is the workspace that when Mitch and I start for any kind of a meeting or when we're working with our team members, regardless of the subject matter, this is just the workspace that we jump in. And the reason for this is because there's really 2 parts of work and projects that take place. Part 1 is where the team is actually getting together, they're strategizing, they're planning what they have to do for any particular output. But the other key component then is once people are clear on what they have to do, now they have to go do it. And the distinction with ControlWriter versus other project management and collaborative software is you don't have to go somewhere else to start getting the real work done. All you need to do is open up your document mode and start doing the work. And so as a team, we're literally saying, okay, great, let's get going on this. So in this project, as Mitch said, it is a very old version of the product. What you start to learn as you work with projects inside of ControlWriter is that the project, because of the tab organization, really does become its own universe. So you start, if you click on the far left, Mitch, go to funding. So right on funding, for example, here we are talking about a number of different funding targets. In this case, there's some venture capital firms. This was very, very early on when we were starting to prepare our pitch deck, and we were starting to lay out some of the targets for some of our pitch meetings for venture capital. But just the same, when it's time to talk about marketing, we're literally one click away to the right to marketing ideas and starting to talk about some of the different campaigns. Now, if I showed you a different account login to our normal day-to-day, you would see that this CW3 project is significantly larger than this and has grown exponentially larger with data and printouts and all sorts of files and information. But I think you can start to see how just by being with your team and collaborating, you can really just work on all aspects of your business. And it's really your choice as to whether or not you want to break those up into multiple projects or just think about your organizational structure and your day through one project using different tabs and sub-tabs. It's entirely up to you.
And you're going to see even here, we had the old document mode that was in the software that's now disabled and gone. That's why it's not present here. But all the data, if you had put data into that mode, anybody who might have used it gets swept into something, a legacy document, and that's why we have document. That's why even though this is a new feature altogether, this document mode, that's why this data is filled this by default. It was swept into here from our old document mode.
All right. Mitch, do you have some of those files handy for like the students and those others? Is that all in this account?
Some of them. Let's see. So
let's see if we have the NYU.
So here's this construction. Well, here's the construction one, just to show it might be used.
So yeah, the legal. Oh, that's the legal.
Well, this one is mocked together. This is a 100% mocked together. My friend of mine owns a disposal company. He sold it. So what
let's zoom in a little bit. It's really hard to read.
So this is sort of like what for a video I put together. So for a promotional video, I put together what his might look like. So he might organize it by contracts, collections, disposal services, active litigation settlements. And this guy, he was very close to him when we were in high school, all the way back to high school. His collections was always in the millions of dollars. Like he had a full-time collection agent working for him. So he would have things like this. And then under the contracts, he might have by the specific contract that he is, the specific company that he is working for. Obviously, this was a mocked up one that I set up. And same thing with collections. And just to show how someone might organize their file according to different parts of their business and then different parts of that specific subset of the business. Let me go ahead and open now. I have the novel template, but that's not the one we want to.
No, the student one. I can tell you if you folks go to.
Let me go ahead and share it to this project. Give me 1 minute, and I'll.
You went on mute.
Just give me 1 minute. Talk for 1 minute. I'll share it to this project. I'll find it.
Right. So one other thing I mentioned, by the way, right now, of course, you've got text chat available in collaboration. Video chat is also coming very soon. So you'll be able to either chat via video the way you do on Skype or other programs, or you can stay with the text chat. It's all part of the collaborative experience that's expanding here. What Mitch is going to show you is just an example of, I think, different kinds of projects. But as you can start to see, for example, if you're an attorney and you like to organize your files by clients, you can basically, in one project, you don't have to have 200 different projects wondering which one to search through. Literally inside one project, you'll be able to have all of your different clients and the details of their case based on the different tabs of your project. I know Mitch is just looking for a different account, so he can.
I have the NYU one.
Yeah, show the NYU. We have one of our larger target market bases outside of the marketing world is the student population, the student and educational market. We've got incredible things planned with private educational institutions, Franklin Academy, Khan Academy, as well as even the public school system, of which my wife is a teacher here in Florida. But for students, it's amazingly powerful. And for some of you that may have seen our Control Writer fan page, there are some videos that are posted, one of which is a student video. And Mitch is just going to open up that project, I believe, right, Mitch? That's where we're going? The NYU?
Yeah, so now it should be.
There we go, cool. Where is that sucker?
It should be added here.
NYU, there it is, NYU fall semester, fourth row, third up. Fourth row up top.
How did this is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a different project, maybe. No, this was different, Mitch.
You know what? I got logged out of that account. Hold on a second.
But in any event, while Mitch is doing that, what it shows you is that and in fact, the video that I'm referencing that's right on that Control Writer fan page on Facebook. It actually walks through a student scenario where they're working on a biology project all throughout their entire semester. So it basically starts, their teacher invites them, and yes, Rhonda, I know the text is blurry. Mitch is sort of zooming in and out. It's a little hard to see because right there it is. I see, top left. Perfect. Okay, let's select NYU Fall and let's really zoom in so people can see it. So here, for example, for a student, what one possible use is obviously to break out your entire calendar. And this is one student for what we call the NYU fall semester of 2014. Here are all this student's classes organized by tab up top. What we did was a more detailed breakout of the Economics 103, but you can see that it's broken down by week. So you've got your weeks 1 all the way through weeks 12 and 16 if you want to go that far out. And each week 1, obviously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And you basically are able to take all the notes and everything else. What we do, the video is really a great thing to check out because it just shows the power of what each of these bubbles are. But remember, if you're in a class and you want to take notes, you can obviously, it's really hard to see, Mitch. Can we stay on one and just blow it up? It'll be easier to just talk it through and then probably change later. So for example, if I'm in week 1 here in this macroeconomics course, on Monday, for example, if the teacher's giving a lecture, here we are taking notes from that lecture. If we don't feel like typing, you remember that Mitch showed you how to add a voice note. So you would click on that attachment, you would click on the microphone, and then you would basically do a recording of the teacher's lecture when you're in that class, especially when this is released onto the iPads and the iPhones and other mobile devices. The capturing of this type of information is going to get even easier in case you don't want to bring your laptop with you. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this, folks, unless anyone has a specific question and wants us to show something. But you get the idea, whether it's students, whether it's a construction company, attorneys, Salesforce, or any enterprise level corporate team, the power of the software and the collaboration well beyond planning your next webinar certainly extends at a very, very powerful level. And there's just so much more to come. And Mitch, unless you have anything else to add on projects, we're going to really just go to Q&A and hot seats. Let me just see if Yvette is still here, because if she is, I did promise. Yes, I think they had to jump out for their webinar. So what we'll do is we'll take anyone else. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, Mitch, are you on mute?
Yeah, I'm just taking it off of, hello there, everybody. Yeah, so just
okay, so what we're going to do at this point, Tom is asking a question and then we'll open to general. Tom, I think you showed this earlier, but each bubble can have unlimited attached files. Yes, Tom, that's correct. Each bubble is its own universe. It really is. It's a blank canvas.
And what's important to point out about the way those bubbles and the attachments work is that once you attach information, an image, an audio note, a PDF to a bubble, When you move the bubble around, that information stays with that bubble. It stays in the relevant place. So I've got a note about some class, let's say, and I do an audio note of the teacher, or I make a personal note, whatever it is, and now I drag it around because I want it in a different place. That audio note is always in the right place. It's always with the relevant notes that the bubble that it belongs to.
Right. So at this point, folks, again, we sincerely appreciate your patience in terms of going through the features. As we said, we did this for a couple of purposes. One was to give everyone a live overview with a chance to ask your questions. The other, of course, was to make it available for your viewing on demand. And we're also going to cut this up a little bit and break each of the different features out into individual sections so that you'll be able to just watch whatever section you need a refresher on. But at this time, we are turning it over to you. There's a couple ways that you can participate in the last formal training that is scheduled for the Webinar Control Program. Way number one is, Mitch, I still forget how the user experience is. I can only see our admin panel, but somewhere I believe you have the ability to raise your hand or be asked to be invited to come on as a spotlight speaker. And if you're interested in doing that, what that will do is it will, when we bring you in, when we see that you volunteered or that you want to come on and speak, to have a hot seat or a conversation of any kind, your camera and your microphone will be turned on. So just know that if you're in your casual attire or a robe or something, unless you turn off the camera, then it will load up for you. You may also have to give it permission in your address bar. You might have to just give permission to allow the access, but we'll just sort of wait a couple minutes here in case anyone wants to. Don't be shy, don't be bashful. You don't even have to use the camera if you don't want, but if you just want to ask questions audibly as opposed to typing them in the chat, now is the time to raise your hand and jump on, and we will.
Yes, that's the Tom. It's the request. It's
request to speak. That's exactly right, Tom. So the request to speak button is right in the upper right. So for anyone else that wants to do that, we are giving you our time today, folks. If you have any questions, it does not need to be only about ControlWriter software. It can be about something in your campaign, something you're working on, anything and everything that was covered from Mike's training all the way on through today. Also, if you have any questions, please do type them in the chat if you prefer to do it that way. We're not going to hang on indefinitely just for the sake of hanging on. I'm sure everyone has busy lives even beyond today's webinar training. So if a few minutes go by and we don't see anybody requesting or typing questions in the chat, then we will just bring today's and final session to a close and remind everyone that you can always reach us at support@controlwriter.com for ControlWriter software-based questions, and for any other training questions or Traffic Genesis, Webinar Jam Studio, Kartra, any of the other popular questions that have come up from the group, you want to contact support@marketinggenesis.com directly. I'm just trying to see, Mitch, if we have anybody else.
Tom, did you want to come on, or we can invite him and see it? But maybe he was just giving us that.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, so now we get to do like a lot of all caps typing to our development team.
That's right. That's right. What happened here, guys? The world. I'm seeing some thank yous. Again, we don't want to wear out our welcome. We want to be here for you only to the extent that we're needed and requested. But if you guys have had enough for the day, sure appreciate just giving your feedback in the chat. Just type in, let us know that you've got everything you need for the time. Summary of the ways people do that. Well, Claude, we kind of went through that. Claude was just asking a summary of the ways people use this. We tried to give examples from the legal example, the construction company, students, businesses. Was there a particular?
Right. Is there a particular way you'd like us to try and emulate for you? So I mean, it's
correct.
Something we haven't thought on. What is the scenario you envision? Ask us a question and we'll try and answer it. How about that?
Yeah. Well, Claude is saying the offbeat ways it's used. I don't know if that's for the sake of just.
The screenwriting. We use it for screenwriting. Let me open up here. Sure, why not?
Right.
So we use it. Yeah. So I was going to do open up plot control. Here's a plot control. He's in here. So what we've got here is this is obviously a. Let me share my screen again so you guys can see it. Shared. Okay. So here we got, this is something we've given to our, I got to present to everybody. So this project is something we've given to all of our screenwriting users of our software plot control who have taken the jump into Control Writer. So inside the projects, they have, they've got the project, something we use called Start Here Questions, which is part of plot control, something we call Triangulation, which is different questions about their screenplay. Then there's something called Core Elements, and you'll notice there's a Core Elements inside of the Offer Control software you have. And this is different key parts of a screenplay story that we help users, that the software guides a user in terms of constructing, and then the timeline, the 3 acts. So this might be an offbeat way that the software is used, one that we specifically sell to the screenwriting market. And you can see here they've got 5 different projects they could be actively working on as they're using the software, and now they're going to be able to actually write their screenplays right in here. Right in here, they'll be able to write their screenplays.
That's right. You'll remember that we referenced that the document and outputs, as we get to the premium templates, which I'll cover again in a second, it's not just going to be a spreadsheet or a document or a slide presentation. When we release the premium template that has to do with screenwriting, that output option will also include a script formatter that you will have. So that's one of the ways. Hey, Mitch, do you have the pitch deck handy that you can open up and go to page 18 of 26?
Of course I do.
Of course he does, he says. Don't I should know my partner by now. He's always got this stuff ready, except when he doesn't. So Tom is saying, I thought it would be a great way to write my next book. Also want to use it to collaborate with customers. Absolutely, Tom. And Tom is saying, I thought of using it to create online products. And we have used it internally in the interest of eating our own dog food and drinking our own Kool-Aid.
You want to see the marketplace slide, correct?
Yes, 18 to 26, the marketplace. So
I got to share it. Hold on.
Yeah. So Tom had brought up, I thought about it would be a great way to write my next book. One of the things that is also coming, and this is probably, I would say, it's probably a Q4, early Q1 release, probably at the earliest. But just like some of you may be familiar with a company called Envato, which has websites, Audio Jungle, which is basically an entire marketplace, just like Apple's iTunes, but in this case, it's a large marketplace of music. And in fact, this screen capture was taken from the Audio Jungle to represent various, it was either Audio Jungle or Theme Forest or something like that. But there is also going to be the Control Writer Marketplace, which is going to include a variety of frameworks and trainings. So for example, let's say that you wanted to know the best love letter you could ever possibly want to write, and you didn't want to do it yourself. Well, you'll be able to hop right on over to the Control Writer Marketplace, do a search for love letters, and probably find 10 to 30 different options, all with a rating system and pricing, so that you can import a premium framework that walks you through the exact steps to write the perfect love letter. If you're interested in Brian Tracy's or Robert Allen's book writing process, there might be a framework available for the exact process that Brian Tracy or Robert Allen goes through when they're working on their nonfiction books. Maybe you're interested in a particular type of project management mock-up, or you're interested in a type of business proposal or a Six Sigma process, or any number of different type of frameworks. You can search in this Control Writer Marketplace and get access to a whole slew of premium templates that you can import into your program. So all of that, again, coming late Q4, Q1 of 2016. Tom is asking, before life software development, I think this would be a great way to capture requirements for UMOCW. Absolutely, Tom. And the long and short of it is, as a software development company, we are collaborating using this software day in, day out with our various team members, ranging from our UI team and design team all the way through to our developers. Testing, planning, meeting, strategizing, and actually doing the work and writing the documents. Tom's also saying, do you have any examples of it using it for project management? Yes, there's the Six Sigma process. If we wanted to, well, actually, the easier way to answer that is one of the data points that's going to be collected which I didn't mention, is in addition to being able to document who is working inside of a project, who is creating what, and who is doing what, there's also going to be an integration of a calendar view as well as a task list process. So for project management, what you'll be able to do, can we share your screening image and just go to a bubble? We'll just, even though we don't have the buildup of it, we will show in the practical context with the software. So basically what would happen is, I'm just going to open up another, any of those will work, training items to cover or whatever.
So here's the notes on the very notes of this webinar. Actually,
that's right. Yeah, here's an example of drinking our own Kool-Aid when it was time to prepare what we were going to cover today. This is the trainings items to cover, and you could see first segment of the presentation was CW feature demos, which we did. Then we wanted to discuss upcoming feature highlights. Then we wanted to talk about day-to-day usage ideas, and finally Q&A and hot seat. But anyway, on any of these note bubbles, what's eventually going to happen is you will have an option that will allow you to mark a particular note or a task as a to-do. And so when you click on the View tab, an additional view that will be available will be a to-do list, as well as a calendar view. So you'll be able to basically, and of course it'll be integrated and compatible with all the Tony says still you might not have locked on your screen yet, Mitch.
It was not locked on the screen, right? So here's just quickly recapping. So we've got, this is the project that we used for this very webinar.
Zoom in a little bit. It's hard to see. Yeah.
All right, I'll zoom in a drop. So this is the webinar, the project we created for this very webinar. You can just see all the different stuff that we covered, the tabs, the different options. And then if we go over here, what Sean is talking about now is I create a bubble here, and then I can click a little to-do type of like add to to-do list. And then now to-do items can come from anywhere in the project. And then you go to View tab, and there's going to be a to-do list here.
Correct, to-do list, as well as a calendar view. So you'll be able to click on the calendar, see all your to-do items or project lists in a calendar, or import from other calendars like Google Cals and obviously iOS, iCal and other compatible calendar programs. So with the data collection, which is really the next huge wave of development that's coming for our enterprise level clients, but also for all of you lifetime users, it's coming for you as well. I'm just looking around to see if there's any, Tom says, so you work with third-party providers to have plugins for sale. Well, the plugins are going to be actual control writer frameworks. So we will be working with those people in a very similar way that we work with Mike and Andy to be able to provide frameworks and trainings that are compatible with control writer software. What's probably also going to happen is some of you may be familiar with the very well-known training site lynda.com, which was of course acquired, I believe, by LinkedIn for, I think it was it 1.2 billion or was it 2.1 billion? Whatever it was billion with a B. And lynda.com has both training videos that they provide, and then they also provide workflow documents and different shares. And Control Writer is going to work like that, except kind of in reverse. It's going to be based on the actual frameworks and the work content itself, but you will also have access probably through the marketplace to various training content. So webinar control in the secondary market may be available in the Control Writer marketplace as well. Or for any of you that are using it, if you should one day decide to want to publish your own content. Again, if you're familiar with Envato and the way their model works or the way the iTunes model works, what happens is you are free to develop and publish in that marketplace. We'll simply be taking a publisher's fee for listing and such, but you will be able to actually monetize frameworks and projects that you create. So Yvette, Rogerio, I know you're going to watch this at some point. When you are ready to start monetizing this framework inside Control Writer, what you'll do is you will publish it, you will lock it as a premium template, and you'll be able to list it and publish it in the Control Writer marketplace so people can find your framework to take advantage of your process for delivering exceptional webinar events. Claude is saying, how long will you be putting out the life option before you close it down? Right now, the answer is it is guaranteed through this particular offer that we made with you folks. It is really something that we're if you go to the website right now, controlwriter.com, you will see that an individual user has a particular, yes, like Udemy, Rhonda, as well. An individual user has either an annual billing or a monthly billing if you were just using the software. As far as lifetime access to the software, we may or may not include that as a package for various offers. But the truth be told, Mitch and I are really servicing marketplaces that are significantly larger than the IM space. Ranging from from finance to the student and educator marketplace. You're talking about marketplaces with literally 62 million users. And a $51 billion marketplace in terms of its size, where the international or the internet marketing space represents a profitable but fraction of this large universe. So with some of our other venture partners, the Mike Koenigs, the Frank Kerns, and Brendan Burchards, and other people in the industry that we know, we may get together with them and do something similar where with their frameworks and training, we will package a lifetime offer of the software. But I can assure you that it won't be any better in terms of the ControlWriter side of this than what you guys have with Mike and Andy. If anything, the pricing is probably going to go up because of the further development that has taken place even since you guys bought, a month ago at this point. It's already been over a month. So, but since you guys bought and first joined us, the level of development that's been taking place even in this last 30 days is exponential from what you first saw. So if anything, the pricing will be going up, not down. And we're happy to have you on board now. So that's the plan. Just looking, Mitch, and you see any other questions that I missed while I was talking? Tom says, will you be providing us details on how to provide premium content? Tom, yes. Basically, the premium and licensing aspects of developing those software, that's another thing that's probably going to be coming, like I said, probably late Q4 or even Q1 of 2016. But you as a user will very clearly be able to publish content. You'll be able to lock certain frameworks in place and protect them through licensing so that you can sell them in the marketplace for a purchase price. Any other questions, folks, or anything you want to add, Mitch? Anything I missed? Or
I think we've covered everything pretty thoroughly. We've definitely.
So I'm going to put out a last call for questions or participation. It's incredible. You guys are always wanting to talk to us for that events and say hi to Mike and say hi to me or to Mitch and wanting to talk to us. And here you are. You've got your chance to just raise your hand and jump on and talk. And everybody is hiding under the covers. Not that I'm insulting anybody, mind you. I'm just saying this lightly with a smile that we'd love to see you. We'd love to talk to you if you want to talk. Otherwise, type any last questions. It is 4:46 Eastern time, so we have been at this now for almost the better part of 2 hours, and we certainly don't want to cut it off if you have more questions. But if you are done, and I'll just sort of give it another 15, 20 seconds or so, Mitch, for any last questions. Otherwise, I think we're going to sign off. Tom is saying that was awesome today. He was the question machine. Thank you guys so much for being here, for all your participation. We loved having you. Remember, just a couple of last reminders, the Webinar Control Group on Facebook, if you have not yet joined, make sure you join the request to join that Facebook group. As Mike indicated, we really don't have time to do due diligence on the people who are requesting. So we're going to be fairly liberal. If you've got team members or partners that you want to invite to that group, feel free to have them ask to join and share the link, and we'll be happy to approve your team members as well. If you need any support help whatsoever, you always have us at support@controlwriter.com for ControlWriter questions, and Marketing Genesis support at marketinggenesis.com for any other training related questions that do not involve ControlWriter software. Thank you all so much for the kind words. We love being here with you today. Mitch, any other last words? I'm gonna give you the last word before we say goodbye.
No, we're all good. Everything's good. I'm just chatting here with the programmers.
With the programmers. We are ready to move. Our day doesn't end when we hang up with you, even though right now for Mitch it is about midnight overseas, but we're going to get to work at making this program even better for you as we speak. Thanks, everyone. Any questions, you know how to find us. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and thrilled to have you as part of the Webinar Control community. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.